Got my good old coffee. Hey guys. A couple people requested that I make a video. Pablo requested, and a couple people outside of work. I started taking some pictures, but then I realized Pablo's right. A video is definitely going to be easier, and I'll be able to explain more and so on. So this is a July garden tour. I think there was a couple other things I planned in my head to say at the beginning of this. Oh yeah, no retakes, so, we're not going to edit this or anything. It's all one shot, one try. I don't remember the other stuff, so let's get into it. Okay, so first off, let's show you guys what the house actually looks like for those of you who haven't been here. Alright, so I have two nice, really big Japanese maples out front. Driveway. Give you a look at the front of the house here. Okay, my house looks like that. Driveway leads back to the garage in the backyard. Got some plants out front here, but they're gonna be last. I think it just makes more sense to talk about them after I talk about the main garden. This here's a French drain I put in myself because the last person who lived here had a sewer leak and they fixed it. You can see there's some modifications over there that they did some work. But when they leveled the pipe that they replaced there, they didn't do it right. See, that's where the sewer access is. That's where the external access is. Right between them and the sidewalk. Maybe it's not super easy to see in the video, but it's the lowest point on my property because they didn't level it right and it settled down over time. So I had to add a drain to take all that water and carry it away from my house to the public storm sewer. I'm coming back, Gordy. It's okay. You're going to be in the video too. Yeah. Alright. This is my super secure, absolutely impenetrable and unlockable gate. My mom showed me this. Okay, can't get in, right? Okay, well, the only person it's locked for is me, because I'm habitually conditioned to only use the right side of the gate, so I forgot that the left side opens. So it's really only locked for people who don't use the gate on a regular basis, which is super great, exact opposite of what I wanted. But let's get into some plants. If you ever go to the store and find these little wildflower grow mats, you roll them out and water them, don't buy them. They don't work very well, even if you do prep the soil underneath them. This is my lilac bush, so flowers late spring, early summer, and again in late summer. He's planted right outside my bedroom window here, and the wind always comes from that direction like 95% of the time. So that wind's going to blow this lilac scent right into my window during the times when it's flowering. Around the corner over here, we have my Cuban tobacco. They look a little sad because I recently harvested them this week. When the leaves are about from your elbow to the, your wrist. They're big enough to harvest, so you go in and you clip off every other leaf that's large enough from the main stem, and then it'll grow up and grow more, and produces some really nice flowers that are actually going to, see, some are going to seed over here. A couple little extra guys. This is actually a mini Miracle-Gro greenhouse that I got through work with my Inspire points, actually. It normally has a plastic film over the top of it to make it an actual greenhouse. But it was getting way too hot in there. It would bake every single plant you put in there within hours. So I had to take the cover off, and now it's just an extra bench for more plants that I haven't really organized too well yet. But we got one of the Thai basils right here. You see some damage from the Japanese beetles. We'll talk about those. We got some cilantro over here, and these are a couple chicks and hens babies that came off my main plant that you'll see in a minute. These are some, I don't know if these ones were the Black Beauties or the Carnival bell peppers, because I planted them all a long time ago and they didn't come up, so I thought they weren't going to grow. And then we got our first heat wave of the summer, and then they all popped up. I was like, oh, okay, it just wasn't hot enough for them, I guess. These are both hollyhock. It's a flower that gets about 6 feet tall. So they are planted on the back of the fence here because they get 6 feet tall, they need some support from the wind or they'll get blown over. So because the wind always comes from over there, it's going to blow them into the fence and they'll be supported. And you can see we have a little Bigfoot screwed into our fence on the side of the house here. So those flowers are actually going to peek up right next to his head when they're tall enough. So then in the back corner over here, we got one of the bird feeders, one of the Japanese beetle bags. We've got super onion. So this is a green onion I bought from the store 1 or 2 years ago now. probably basically when I started working at J&J. And I cut the top of it off and left the little bottom piece so that we could eat it, and then I'd regrow it in the garden. I planted it in the garden. He grew full again, but we never ended up using him in anything else. And so he just got left out for the whole winter with no winter care or anything in a small little pot, and it survived all on its own, and then came around this year and started growing again. Not only just growing, grew one stalk, put out a set of seeds, then grew another stalk. You can see it twisted into the ground. I guess it wants to put them right in the ground this time. And it's just growing like crazy. I mean, it survives the winter with no care or anything. It's a super onion. And then these big leaves here, these is actually my first year doing this. These are comfrey. So comfrey is actually a mulcher and an accumulator. So its roots go down deep into the soil, deeper than most plants, and get nutrients from down there and bring it up into their leaves. Where'd he get out of there? And if you cut all their leaves down, they'll just grow back. So what you do is you plant them and they go down deep in the soil and they gather the nutrients. Then you cut off the leaves and then you throw it down as mulch on a different plant that you want to give more nutrients to. So that's why it's a mulcher, and then the fact that it goes down deep into the soil and gets nutrients and brings them up to the leaves makes it an accumulator. And these guys here are a wild plant. These are actually, I cut them all down last year because I thought it was just a weed, but it's actually a longleaf ground cherry. It is in the nightshade family, pepper, tomatoes, potatoes, things like that. All parts of the plant are toxic except for the ripe fruit. So the ripe fruit is completely edible. Sorry, I'm just talking and not focusing on the camera. The ripe fruit's edible. It tastes kind of like a cranberry or a unripe strawberry. But so that'll be fun, but we're gonna have to wait a while for those fruits to ripen up. That's just a corn that was super weak in the main cornfield you're gonna see in a second. So I just ripped him out and put him over here. He's still not doing that well, but I don't care about him, whatever. So right here we have the rosemary. So for those of you guys who don't know, rosemary will actually grow into like a 5 foot tall, 5 foot wide bush. Might even be bigger than that. Huge. It'll get huge if you grow it in the ground like this. And if you grow it in the ground and it's got good drainage, it's basically like unkillable. Over here, we've got my first cherry tree. This is a Mount Morency tart cherry. So when I went to the nursery, they didn't have any more adult ones, but they did have some younger ones. So he's just a little guy right now, but he'll get bigger. All my trees all have a companion guild. So these are all plants that work in conjunction with your main plant to do various symbiotic things. So, you know, like mulching and accumulating is one function of them, like I talked about the comfrey, but then there's also some, like the nasturtiums we're going to see over there, they repel various pest bugs. Things like sunflowers, other flowers will attract pollinators. You know, some of them, you know, actually, like the clovers are actually going to produce nitrogen at their roots, so they're actually going to like make nutrients from the air, put it in the soil. Not a ton, you know, they use most of it for themselves, but some does leak out. You know, so I don't even know honestly what this is. I planted like lots of different stuff I've never grown before, like various herbs and stuff that are good. So like I don't know what that one is. There's a little saber leaf curly basil over here. This one's comfrey. You know, we've got some squash. There's a pea here. You know, some purple burgundy bush beans. Oh, look at this. Oh yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to say. I haven't checked the garden this morning. I had to restrain myself so I could experience it all with you guys in the video, but you know, we see this pea's gonna make a pea soon. Or a flower and then a pea. Assuming the bunnies don't come and eat it. Oh, what's this? No, that's just Japanese beetle damage. Okay, that's fine. Thought it was rust. That would have been a bigger problem. No rust allowed. Rust is like little orange fungus that infects your fruit trees. This here is Stump Garden. So, a little story about Stump Garden. Probably about like 40 to 60 hours of full-time heavy manual labor, drilling, hacking, sawing, all sorts of shit to get only like 4 or 5 inches deep into this stump, at which point I gave up and I was like, that's good enough. I'll let it rot for a year and that'll make it deeper. I'm done doing this. I originally planned it for all my perennial herbs, like my thyme, rosemary, things that will survive the winter, and I wanted to plant them in the stump because it would be insulated from the winter weather. But I worked up all the soil, and this is going to be a long video, so I'm not going to talk about all that right now, but point of the story is there was too many nutrients in there for herbs, which only like a, you know, they like a low to a moderate nutrient density in their soil, so they all started like yellowing. They weren't happy. I ripped them all out, let it sit for a little while, and then, you know, I chucked some garden rejects into it here and they exploded. So you can see in the center here, we got a very big yellow squash. Let's see, got a male flower open on him. That female I just pollinated yesterday. So, you know, I just pulled off the first fruit it made this giant yellow squash in like a week. So I'm guessing that other one's going to be done by next week, believe it or not, maybe even sooner. Underneath, you know, struggling to get out from underneath this giant squash, these are some cantaloupes. They're vining, so I'm hoping they're going to figure out their way over here, and then they'll be able to get away from him and get the sun that they need. But there's little yet. They still have to develop their vines. This guy over here is a cherry tomato. Most of the plants that I grow in my garden are heirloom, which means that they're the kind of seeds that our ancestors propagated free from, you know, genetic engineering and, you know, stuff like that. And I prefer that because, you know, those plants are typically healthier. They have more antioxidants and stuff because they weren't bred to grow faster or taste better or other things like that. You know, they are evolved to just survive. You know, they're more disease resistant. You know, they might be slightly less tasty than the best one in the world. I mean, I've never had an untasty one. They all taste good to me. You know, people didn't breed and save seeds of plants that tasted like crap. You know, and they only saved the good ones. So, you know, did it win the best taste test in the whole world? Maybe not. But, you know, heirlooms were selected by our ancestors because, you know, they put out a lot of good fruit, easy. They're disease resistant. You know, they're convenient to grow without the modern conveniences of society. And yeah, so they're closer to their wild, you know, ancestor plants as well. So they have more antioxidants, more bioactive molecules and things like that. These are just some extra apple mints that I was going to use as a bait crop for the bunnies because they really like it, but I just haven't got time to set it up. And an extra Italian oregano I never did anything with, and extra dill I never did anything with going to seed, just like the other one. I'll probably just, once they're ready, I'll just flip it upside down and pop it in some more soil to have more dill. This is one of my things I like the most about my garden. This is my garden of thyme. So, down here, that guy and that guy are both lemon thyme. This guy's Hi-Ho silver thyme. This guy's golden variegated thyme. This guy here is German thyme. This guy here is pizza thyme. This guy here is, let's see, French thyme over here with the funny looking leaves. Sorry, I've never recorded a video like this before. I might be, and I can't. Let me turn the brightness up on my screen. Can I? Oh, can't do it while I'm in video mode. Great. Okay, well, yeah, it's kind of hard to see my screen because the brightness is turned all the way down, but I hope I'm getting a good video for you guys. So that one is lime thyme. Awesome. Definitely the best winner. That like literally brings me back to my childhood, running out to the freezer in the summer and getting a green flavored popsicle. It's so lime. And then we've got your classic English thymes back there. So this is, get away from the sunflowers that are blocking the view. This is my plum tree here. So if you see white stuff all over my plants, it's not mold, fungus, or anything like that. It's a special type of clay called Calvin clay that's made of very fine microparticulates that you spray it on the leaves, and it creates a film barrier that dries the leaf out, making it inhospitable for fungus and mold and stuff. It's actually a physical barrier against the mold spores depositing on the leaf. It deters pests because when they eat the leaf with the clay on it, it irritates their digestive system. And if a plant is also getting too much sun, it can also protect against sunburn and sun stress because it is white, so it reflects some of the light off the leaves. This was the first companion guild that I planted, and it said people talk about putting sunflowers in there, so I did that. But what I didn't realize is that if you plant the sunflowers at the same time as everything else, they just grow so fast they shade everything out. So the sunflowers are the only thing in the plum tree guild. We got one coming open over here, gonna be quite nice looking. You know, the outside is like, the outside of the petals, oh my god, I cannot see this screen, this is awful. Okay, outside of the petals are like yellow and purplish, but then the inside's orange. So, you know, I bought like 20 different kinds of sunflowers, and I have no memory of where I planted which one, so it's gonna be a complete surprise. You know, you can see like, there's like no two, if I can see my screen, there's like no two sunflowers that are the same, like next to each other. Like this one's different than this one, which is different than this one, you know, which is even different than that one. So, and then we got, you know, these ones over here. These ones are even taller than me. And they're still going up. So, that's cool. These Japanese beetles, where is my screen? Can't see anything. Oh man.